I think that's a very important goal. It's a long-term goal. It's possible at the individual farm level, but it's very difficult on the regional or area level because of the way the virus can be spread, transmitted through the air, for example.
When we talk about PRRS eradication, I think that is something, let's say, possible, not easy, but possible. And what we have to consider in a country like Italy is the possibility we have to get the infection a second time.
Eradication, although remain the ultimate goal, and nobody is against virtue, I don't think that right now we have the tool to be able to expand it to a country-wise goal.
Eradication of PRRS from farms has been difficult, but in some cases also challenging. We feel it's very important when a virus gets into the farm to do an eradication as soon as possible to get back to negative pig flow.
We have become a lot better at figuring out how to eradicate PRRS from farms and how to keep farms negative from PRRS. Now we have to figure out how to do that for regions and keep moving forward. It might not work for every region, and definitely in very dense areas it is a challenge.
Speaking about control in an isolated farm is not difficult. It's not difficult. But if you're speaking in a crowded area like this area, it's located this farm, it's quite difficult because all neighbors need to work together, needs to vaccinate together, needs to implement the same control program, and for this reason it's not easy to fight against this disease.
National eradication programs mandatory for every pig producer may be effective, but we need to think about the consequences in advance. And to answer this question, we need to realize that stamping out is the only method. At least today, we have to maintain the status free from PRRS, and we need to clarify in before whether the pig producers as well as the society will accept the stamping out policy.